Today on Tricrow Studios, we're going to talk about flying Vs. Flying Vs. Flying Vs. Flying Vs. This one has 7 strings. And if you should own one. So basically today we're going to talk about just a few things. Some things that you may know of, some things that you may not know of if you're looking into purchasing a Flying V guitar. Now this is not necessarily geared towards someone who is just learning to play guitar or is looking to buy their first guitar, like their first real guitar, what have you. This can apply to anyone who's never owned a Flying V before. So before we actually get into some of the things you should look out for if you're buying a Flying V, let's first take a look at the types of Flying Vs, or some of the types of Flying Vs. First off, we have a Gibson Flying V guitar. These were introduced around 1958, I believe. The most popular model that you'll actually find from Gibson would be the 67 model. This is a 70s version, so it has a thinner body, and if you look at the headstock, it's a little more rounded. And this one has a volute, which is nice because it gives a little more support on the headstock. This was made in the custom shop for Gibson. It's not necessarily a custom shop guitar, it's just they didn't have a production model of Flying V that year, and they made some special ones, and it had to be made in the custom shop. So you'll notice here that the wings, or the fins, or what have you, are quite even. That's quite similar to the King V style, which is generally sharper at the end, or pointier at the end. Maybe it's more metal, who knows? You can also find these where they have like horns here, as opposed to just the pointiness. But this is a King V style. Next up we have the Rhodes style. So basically what you'll see, it's quite long and pointy like a regular King V, and then here it's kind of cut out a little and it's shorter. And that's basically meant so you can rest it on your knee quite easily. And it looks cool. This is another Rhodes V. This is a Jackson Rhodes V. This is also a 7-string. So if you're into 7-string, you can get them like these. You can also get King Vs in 7-string, but they're generally a signature model. Next up, we're going to talk about how to sit with a Flying V. So basically, if you were to play it like this, it's going to slide on you. I mean, you could go like this. Great. Excellent. But you may not have as much control as you'd like, and it really does slide. So basically, you generally rest it on your inner thigh here. It's generally known as the classical position, and then you use your other leg to balance it. It's very comfortable to play with. The only thing that you want to look out with when you're playing this way would be the Rhodes style Vs. Now, the reason I say this is what you tend to do when you're playing, or what you can tend to do, is you'll actually cross your leg over it, so it's you get a little more control with it. So if I'm playing it this way and it can kind of move. So what I tend to do is move my leg over it. Now I know a lot of people do that in the sitting position or seated position, and that actually can dig into your leg. If I'm doing a lot of work with the Rhodes style V, this one or the 7-string, or the one I'm actually getting soon, generally I'll have a small bruise on the inside of my leg. I live with it though, it's not horrible. Now with the King V, personally I find this extremely comfortable to sit with. You get a little more balance when you're putting your leg over it, because it sticks out a little further, it's further down here, and I don't get that bruise if I'm doing a lot of playing with it. Again, it's nothing to write home about. Next up, we're going to take a look at standing position. So basically, with some of the non-traditionally shaped guitars, like Flying V's, you may find, depending on what tuners are up there and the way that the headstock's balanced, and if the body is light or heavy, that it may actually tip forward. This King V here is well balanced. This Rhodes style V is a little less balanced and tends to dip a little forward. So if I were to play, I would have to kind of balance it on my arm. The Rhodes 7 string isn't nearly as bad. It's not in tune, but it actually doesn't move too much forward. It's not doing this on me, so I have a lot of control with it. The Gibson Flying V is basically perfectly balanced. I would say similar to the King V. It does not move. Now, one thing that you would want to look out for, some Flying V's have the strap button on the end of the fin rather than on the top, and some of them actually have it on the little cutaway here. Now, one thing that you would want to look out for with these type of guitars would be what I like to call the wing ding. So basically what happens is you've got her connected here, you're moving around, you're recording, and you accidentally hit the fin or the wing on a desk, on a chair, on anything. Or you're playing it, you're standing or you're walking around, you got it on your strap, and you turn and you bang the wing into a wall or a door or anything. This happens quite frequently when you first get a Flying V. And if you're getting a used Flying V, basically you are more than likely going to see some. Another thing to look out for if you're purchasing a Flying V, cases. Does it come with one? If you're looking to get a case, you may be paying between $150 and $250 for something that will actually hold your Flying V. Some of those, you can get some gig bags for like usually $50 to $70, but it's just because of the odd shape. So if you're purchasing one, does it come with a gig bag or a case? If it comes with a case, you're saving quite a bit of money. Next thing to look out for, stands. If you have a stand, like a cradle type stand, this may or may not fit. The large fins or wings here may actually protrude from the stand, so you may either have to raise the stand or this will be resting on the ground, and you could get more wing dings. You may want to look into getting a wall hanger, a hanging type stand, or a nice rack stand. Those typically you can raise a little bit and it will rest like this in the stand, and magically you'll have a little bit of coverage and the fin won't hit the ground. But of course, the main reason you want to get a Flying V is the looks. If you're playing a live show with one of these, you will get noticed. Immediately, if you're playing one of these instead of, say, a Les Paul or like a Super Strat or anything other than another pointy guitar, people will automatically look your way if they play guitar or if they don't play guitar. The more V's in your band, the more metal you're considered. So hopefully that'll answer your questions if you're looking to purchase a Flying V. If you want to see more videos with Flying V's, Flying V playing, solos, such and things like that, consider subscribing to our channel. Obviously those 4 V's are mine, and as it stands right now, I will be picking up two more Flying V's this summer. So we'll be seeing at least 6 V's on this channel. This is not a Flying V, just a heads up, but it's still pointy. If you're not totally comfortable with Flying V's, possibly because of the seated position, maybe consider getting an Explorer or Kelly type guitar. Stay tuned in one of our next videos where I actually go over the same thing, Explorers, and should you get one. Thanks for watching.